Hey guys, it's BattleMasterPvP, and today I'm going to be going over just about everything to do with hunters. I know that I haven't made a hunter guide in a while, and that's something that I'm going to make sure that I stay on top of more in the future. But for now, we're going to go over our stats, our glyphs, our talents, pet spec, and rotation. I already have a macro video out, so I'll be sure to leave an annotation about that, so that way you guys can find that and have all my macros as well. So the first thing I want to go over is reforging. The stat priority for a marksman hunter is agility over crit, over mastery, over haste, and you want to make sure that you have 3% expertise and hit rating, which really isn't too hard with this season's gear. I'm barely able to keep it under 5% right now. Now the gems that I'm using, for the red gem it's Delicate Primordial Ruby. For orange gems, I'm using Deadly Vermilion Onyx. And for the blue gems, I'm using Assassin's Imperial Amethyst. I don't really break any socket bonus. I think that they're all useful. I'm using a Living Steel Weapon Chain and both PvP trinkets. Now for pet spec, for everything, 2s, 3s, and battlegrounds, I'm using Cunning for the Roar of Sacrifice. This is a really great defensive for a hunter, because we pretty much have 2 deterrences and then we die. So having a 3rd defensive is really good. And it's also really versatile, because it's off global cooldown, and you can use it on anybody. So if someone's in trouble, you can use Freedom and Roar of Sacrifice at the same time to get them out of the situation that they're in. You also have Bullheaded, which is a really good defensive for your pet, but you can also use this to get your pet out of a CC to be able to immediately Roar of Sacrifice anybody that's in trouble. Now for talents, I don't really change these up all too often. I feel that Narrow Escape is really necessary. Even though it can be dispelled and it breaks on damage, it's really great for kiting, especially if you can drag someone line of sight of their healer and then disengage from there. It also helps you get traps. When people are trying to stand together and you throw a scatter out, you can disengage before you throw the trap in order to keep everybody who's trying to eat the trap in place. For the level 30 talents, the only thing that I use is Widowed Venom. I use Binding Shot once in a while, but most of the time, whatever I'm running, 2s, 3s, there's always stuns involved, and it always pretty much ends up just screwing up our CC chain. Wyvern Sting is really good because it has a 40-yard range and you can trap off of this. Like whatever order you want to do it in, whether you want to scatter trap and then Wyvern Sting and silence, you end up having either a 16-second long cooldown or CC chain or a 17-second long CC chain. If you open with Widowed Venom or Wyvern Sting, you're gonna have a slightly shorter CC chain because it's going to DR your trap from 8 seconds to 4 seconds, whereas the Wyvern Sting is DR'd by the trap from 6 to 3. For the level 45 talents, I'm using Ironhawk almost all the time in 3s. Spirit Bond's great, but when you're taking like full DPS from 2 players, you don't have enough time whenever they're basically in their cooldowns for Spirit Bond to really mean anything, because usually you're going from full health to 0 in anywhere from 4 to 10 seconds, which 10% of your health is around 60k. So you're gonna have a bigger health pool basically with this talent, whereas you're only gonna get maybe 20, 30, 40k healing from Spirit Bond during the other team's burst. For the level 60 talent, I'm using Thrill of the Hunt pretty much all the time for a few reasons. One is that 1 proc from Thrill of the Hunt mitigates 60 focus cost, whereas Dire Beast and Fervor only give you I think it's 50 focus. And the problem with these 2 talents on top of that would probably be that Dire Beast, the pet, can get CC'd, or let's say you pop Fervor and you get CC'd and you're already at full focus, it's pretty much going to waste the entire talent. For the level 75 talents, I'm using Blink Strikes most of the time, but Murder of Crows has way better burst, so running double DPS in 2s I use this, or if I'm running PhD, a lot of the times I'll use this because the burst in PhD is already so high that this slight change going to this talent like can put a lot of people under without them really noticing. And for the level 90 talents, I'm pretty much always using Glyphs toss because the other two spells, like, they just really aren't worth casting. Yeah, pretty much anything that's gonna make you cast is gonna put like a kink in your rotation, so I just don't use them. Now for Glyphs, this setup that I have right now is pretty much a full healing setup. You have 3 healing Glyphs, and if you use all 3 of them at the same time, it can be really hard to kill you in battlegrounds because a lot of times you can just disengage out of the combat or line of sight and just kind of like let your passive heals heal you up. Also, you can dip back and forth between like being behind a pole or some type of line of sight to coming out for 1 second to hit your Chimera shot just for the purpose of healing yourself up. Camouflage is really good in 2s if you're running double DPS and you want a good opener. I would probably trade out maybe the Chimera shot glyph for this because it's only 2% healing and you still have a 3% heal from Chimera shot anyways. Explosive trap, I use this in 3s almost all the time because the knockback can be so effective. You can send one player one direction, another player the other direction, and then web the healer while you're line of sight of the DPS that you're trying to kill. Liberation, I'm already using this. It gives you a 5% heal every 20 seconds, which is pretty good. It's not really going to save you in like a 3 situation, so I don't really use it there. But in 2s or 1v2s or battlegrounds, a lot of the time that's the difference between dying or getting away and making it to the next fight. Master's Call can be really strong because your Master's Call by default is only 4 seconds, which a lot of the time just isn't enough to get away. Like if you use it to get away from a warrior and then he just charges you again, by then the Master's Call is already gone and you have no chance to get away. Mirrored Blades, I don't really use this, but it's kind of a funny glyph where you can basically watch people DPS themselves down because most people don't even notice that you put up deterrence. They just keep doing the rotation through it, and shit like Chaos Bolt will just global the other team. And Solace is basically necessary in 3s, and a lot of the time in 2s you really just can't afford dots to be breaking your CC with the fact that they're all on 45-second and 30-second cooldowns. Now for rotation, I guess I'm just gonna do my rotation and kind of talk to you guys as I do it to explain why I'm doing what I'm doing. You pretty much all the time want to put up Sting first, and you want to wait to pop your cooldowns until after you get a CC. And once you've popped your cooldowns, you want a Chimera shot and Glyphs toss off of cooldown. You want to pull your focus to where every single time these spells are off cooldown, you'll have enough focus to use them. And as aim shot comes up, you just want to utilize the aim shot proc as soon as possible. This is where Thrill of the Hunt comes into play because I can sit at basically no focus and just spam my arcane shots for free. Not really free, but it almost matches the passive regeneration that you get from just the basic focus regen of 5 focus per second or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Where is the focus regen? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, 5.34 every second. If I'm speccing into Murder of Crows, now I don't really have rapid fire up right now, but basically I'll put the Sting up and then I pop the crows before I pop my cooldowns, and then I get my double steady shot back up, and then I start my actual rotation. And this basically will just ramp everything up because you get your focus back with rapid fire from using Murder of Crows. The only real downfall to it is that that's how you have to do your rotation because it costs 60 focus, which is basically the most expensive talent that or spell that a hunter has. Now, everything I've gone over so far basically doubles for survival. The talents, the glyphs, the gems, the stat priority, except for rotation changes. Now, I have a few kind of, I guess, opinions about how survival rotation works. Basically, you always want Sting up, because that gives you a passive focus regeneration of, I think, where is it? Right here. So 1 focus per second, which is 20% of what you already have, which is pretty big. Now, you prioritize explosive shot over everything. Most of the time you're spamming either explosive shot or arcane shot, and the way I like to use black arrow is I'll get my trap first, because you can only get locked and loaded every 10 seconds. So basically you get the trap, you utilize your locked and loaded, and then you apply your black arrow, because we're trying to get a consistent proc. So it just kind of gives you more black arrow uptime, like from locked and loaded. I don't know if that is going to make any sense at all, but yeah, basically use your explosive shots once you get your locked and loaded proc. You want to make sure you utilize every tick that you can, and you can spam it. It basically stacks into the next explosive shot. Like when you cut the last bit of an explosive shot tick off with a new one, it'll stack it on to the end. But a lot of you don't just have to spam it, because like let's say you get a lot of locked and loaded proc, but you want to put black arrow up or sting up, you can basically just go explosive shot global, explosive shot global, explosive shot global. Like if I have my arcane shot proc here with my locked and loaded, I can go explosive shot, arcane shot, explosive shot, arcane shot, and basically utilize them both. See, explosive shot, Glyphs, black arrow, explosive shot, arcane shot, explosive shot. So hopefully that makes sense. That's really the only difference between marks and survival. And the two things that make survival kind of not glamorous, like lackluster, is that you go from having a blanket silence to a kick, which is, I don't know, like it really ruins your CC chain. So the only real option is to play with something that has a silence in order to maintain that in your CC rotation. But the kick can be really good as long as you use it right to kick CC, or just use it, period, you know. It's valuable, and if you're just basically ignoring it because you don't have a blanket anymore, you're really kind of shortchanging yourself. And also, like I said, you get your locked and loaded procs from black arrow, and it's a magic debuff, so people can dispel it. So you have to run with pretty much a warlock. That's your really only option, is to have UA to cover up your black arrow. So that's pretty much it. I kind of just winged this guide, I guess, and hopefully it helps you guys. You've been asking for it for a while, and here it is. Thanks for watching. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. It'll really help the channel grow, and it'll basically let me know what you guys think about the guide. I don't censor constructive criticism. So if you disagree with this, or you guys have anything else to add, please make sure to put that in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, guys.